Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I saw 12 and I was like, yeah, I'll be there at 12, no problem. But that was 12 Eastern.
No worries. I love your rainbow bookcase.
Thank you. So
It
it,
is
it,
beautiful. Oh
it
my
goes,
Wow.
oh,
goodness.
goes all
Oh,
the way
that's
up
great.
there. And
Oh,
then when you turn this side, this is the nonfiction and then the
Wow.
white fiction up top. So I ran
I
out of
love
space.
that.
wow. That
It's
is
it's a
gorgeous.
fun, yeah, it's a fun installation. I was very pleased with it.
It's like a piece of art. It's beautiful.
That's, everybody, I posted a thing about it on Instagram this week or last week and said, what do you think about rainbow shelves? And everybody just lost it. They're like, no, I couldn't ever. I'm
Oh,
like, all right, well, I can.
I
I
was gonna
absolutely
say,
would.
yeah, I love it. I didn't realize it was your bookcase. I saw your post and I didn't realize that was your space. And I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous.
Yep.
Yeah, that I like it a lot. And you guys, I'm so sorry I had to cancel a couple weeks. I'm still so if I cough or sneeze or whatever, just ignore me. I'm still a little COVID-y.
I was
Don't
gonna ask how
worry.
you were feeling. We were worried about you.
I was pretty sick. I had the mild case, which is like having the flu, bronchitis, a cold, strep throat, and mono at the same time. It's not great. It's not great, but it's fine. I'm here. It's all good. I
We're
got
happy
through it.
to have you here. So we'll take our screenshot really fast and then we can start diving in.
That sounds awesome.
All right, everybody. Does anybody have the book to hold up?
I don't know.
All
Mine
right.
was on the Kindle.
Same.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So who wants to start? Jesse, you had really good questions.
Oh,
wanna-
okay. All right. We'll just jump in with my questions then.
I'm like, I got a list, but yeah, we were talking. Jesse's got some good ones. So
And JT, you'll have to excuse me. It's early where I'm at. I'm in Washington State. So it's 9:38 on a Sunday morning for me. I'm also getting over like a cold. Also just in general, they're used to me. I zoom in from my bed.
Nothing wrong with that. I maybe should have done that. I might have been there a few minutes earlier.
I'm a cozy person. I like to be cozy. Usually there's a cat somewhere around. But anyway, okay. So I was wondering if you were like at an ill-fated wedding and that it kind of inspired starts of this book. If you were like, oh man, this isn't gonna work out, or oh man, there's gonna be some drama.
That's funny. I was in Italy, and it was the last couple of days of a very long trip. We had a bunch of family. We're all driving around in this van, called it Van Gogh. We were all sick. We all got a cold. And so we're kind of miserable and we're sitting there and it was my birthday and we're lakeside on Como. And this huge yacht pulls up to the little island that we can see from our hotel. So this huge yacht pulls up and this wedding party gets off. And, I'm a thriller writer. I'm like, oh, what could possibly go wrong? There's this huge wedding party on this island. And in the evening, they set off fireworks. They had this huge hootenanny. I mean, just this huge party. And we heard them all day and all evening. And I was literally sitting there going, gosh, what could possibly go wrong? And then I looked up the island. It's the only island in Lake Como. And it has this crazy history of, you have to drink a certain kind of coffee when you leave the island, so the devils of the island don't follow you. And it was just like, boom, there it was. I mean, an ill-fated wedding. I love Rebecca. I was listening to Rebecca at the time.
Mhm.
And I was like, all right, this is definitely, let's show the things from Rebecca that we didn't get to see. We didn't get to see their big, huge wedding. We just see them meeting and then they go off to Manderley, right? We don't see all of that stuff. So I was trying to pull in all of those things. And then I started wondering, well, what would happen if Rebecca hadn't died? And then the book was just there. It just was there. So sometimes it happens like that. It didn't
Mhm.
write as easily as it conceptualized, but
So are you pro or anti destination wedding?
If the bride and groom are paying their way, the people's way, then I'm totally
Mhm.
pro. I would never ask friends to, pay their own way to another country to watch me get married. I don't think that's very fair. But if I
Yeah.
could pay their way, yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Sorry, I just kicked that
Yeah,
over.
I'm with you on that. And
Yeah,
then
right.
since you're the wine vixen, what wine pairing would you pair with your book?
Oh my gosh, great question. So, where we are in Italy, we would have to go probably with a Nero d'Avola. That would be the closest grape to that area, which is a really dark, hearty red wine that has some spice to it. It's a very little known, it's Nero and then d'Avola, Nero d'Avola. And it is just a brilliant bottle of wine, and that's the kind of grape it is. So you can look at the store for those.
Awesome.
Good question. Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
nobody's asked me that. That's a brilliant question.
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna do an Instagram where I pair the book with the
Yeah.
wine.
I was gonna
I
say you
love
should
that.
totally be
surprised
doing
no one
that.
had
Yes.
asked you that before because I was
Oh my
like,
gosh.
well, it's right there.
That's so smart. I'm totally good. I'm gonna do that with all my books now.
That's awesome.
Yay.
I'm gonna do the real. Here's my book, and here's the wine that you should drink with it.
Yes. I love that.
Love that. I think that's
Love
Thank
that.
you.
I love it.
Thanks, Jesse. I would have never gotten there with that. Thank you.
Anytime. Always happy to inspire wine drinking.
Yeah, no, that's super smart.
All right. If this book continued, what did you see next for Claire and Jack?
Well, I did leave it kind of open-ended because if it ever got picked up for TV, I wanted there to not be a closed loop, right? I wanted it to have just a little bit of something. So I think it would definitely be her finding her strength in that epilogue, right? She is now the matriarch of this family, and she is now responsible for everyone, and she is about to have a Compton. So I see her as Anna. I see her as taking over the family business and running everything. That's and running the family business, the real stuff, the spy stuff that they're doing.
That was an interesting twist, all of the
Yeah.
spy stuff. I don't think that was one of the things I did not see coming and did not realize, like they had this nice facade of all the good things that they're doing in the world.
Yeah.
And so
I mean,
I-
it's kind of the Julia and Paul Child thing, they're doing all these neat things, and she's in cooking school and she's doing this, but they're spies. They were actually spies. So I thought that was really kind of a fun and different way of doing. And in Rebecca, what is he really doing when he's off, running the family business and stuff?
Right.
Again, with all of those holes in that book that just lent themselves to plugging.
what would you have done in Claire's position? Do you think you would have been as accepting when you found out about the family business? And then, I mean, you're sitting there watching all these people die around you. You have committed these murders in some cases.
Yeah, I'm not Claire. That and that was why this book was so incredibly difficult. It was really difficult to write. I could not connect with her because her actions were not what I would do. I would have been out the door. Are you kidding me? I mean, dude, you're hot, but you're not that hot, But she, this Gothic genre actually, it needs this ingenue who feels trapped, right? That she feels like she doesn't have any other options. And as a former drug addict, as a former wild child who has caught the eye of somebody who just genuinely loves her for who she is and doesn't realize that and is trying to change for him, having her tattoos taken off, taking out her piercings, changing her hair. Every time he comes home from a trip, she's normalized herself a little bit, when what he was attracted to was her vibrancy and her artistic, she's just different, and that's what he likes. And yet she's trying to become what she thinks he wants. And that is the only really thing that she and I have in common, because I too, when I moved to Nashville, I had a bunch of piercings and I've got some tattoos, and I was in junior league, and the junior league here just really didn't look at me in a very agreeable fashion. So I took out, I had some color braid, in my hair. So I cut that out, and I took out some of my piercings, and I tried to kind of, normalize myself a little bit for them. And then realized very quickly that they just weren't the kind of people that I wanted to be with if they couldn't accept me for who I was. What am I doing? Right. That was kind of crazy. So there was a little bit of that I pulled from, because Nashville's a really interesting town when it comes to fitting in. It's a very interesting town. It's very LA-ish in that way. It's got a hierarchy. So I connected with her on that, but I couldn't even find her name. She had 4 names as I was writing the book. She just would not come to life for me, because I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't. I would be out the door. That's not who I am. I'm a much stronger person than she is, but she found her strength in the end, right? She found her strength, and now she could lead this family. So, she became a little more understandable to me as a character later on.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was, I'm going to shut my door. Hold on one second. I just realized I had my door open and I'm like talking. There we go. So my husband doesn't have to hear all of this like for the 90,000th time. So yeah, she had multiple names. She had multiple names. Her name, I only landed on Claire, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, maybe 2 months before I turned the book
Oh,
in
wow.
and rewrote the book with her name as Claire. Yeah, this was a really weird book, because it started as a Rebecca retelling.
Mhm.
And so the Jack was named Max and Morgan was named Rebecca. And when I turned it in, my agent read it and called me, and she goes, "We've got a problem." I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "It's not in the public domain. You can't do this." I was like, "What? There are Rebecca retellings all over the place. What are you talking about?" So it turns out, Rebecca is not in the public domain. So all those books that are retelling, like the Winters,
Mhm.
which was a phenomenal book a couple of years ago. No, that was not allowed. I think they got sued. I mean, like a big deal. So I had to go back in right before I turned it in and change all the names. And then right as I was about to turn it in, the Lucy Foley book came out, the guest list. And the cover of her book is literally the opening chapter. And so I had to all stop. I didn't read it, but the description was so similar. I was like, oh no, this is not good. So I actually had to all stop on it and go back and rewrite it. And so that's when I wrote in the epilogue, the prologue, and kind of changed the Nashville stuff so that it was just different. I just had to make it as different as I could. And then I had to, make sure it was not infringing at all upon Rebecca. So this book was really hard to write. Characters wouldn't work. It was just a weird book. And I'm so glad it finally came together, but it took a while.
Were the other characters easier for you to write?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Jack was the easiest. I mean, the knight in shining armor who is just doing his thing on the side. I was also, have you read Discovery of Witches? So that's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant books.
It is.
And Matthew, I
Mhm.
think, is very Max-ish. I think he is very much the leader of the family,
Mhm.
the, holder of secrets, the many layered man, which is, we want a many layered man when we read a book. We want our hero to have all kinds of layers. So that, I think he influenced him as well, of this person that, that we just don't know exactly what's going on here. What is he telling the truth? Is he not telling the truth? Why is he holding back from her? Why are they making her sign an NDA?
Right.
Well, now we know, because they're doing all this government stuff and they have to do that, and would you sign an NDA? I mean, here, you're going to get 30% or 40%. I don't remember exactly the percentage. You're going to get all this from the estate, but you can't ever tell anybody anything you find out about our family. That would maybe set off some
A
alarm.
few red flags. Just a few.
I would be
Yeah,
nervous.
that was a major red flag reading that. But I was like, not signing that.
Right.
Mm-mm.
So in an earlier draft, so you guys get to hear all the little secrets. So in an earlier draft, they actually got married in that scene, which was great. It's like, okay, surprise. And she's furious with him because he's taken all the fun out of her getting married by making, they're married now. So, oh, well. And then that wouldn't work for the book, because the book was all about the wedding. And I was like, no, let's just do the blood test there and sign the NDA. And it took that out.
Yeah, I don't think I would have agreed to that NDA. I'm like, that's not usually a normal part of a wedding.
Well, it
Well,
is.
There was a lot of things not part of a normal wedding.
The crypt.
Oh, the crypt is awesome. No, so just to circle back to that, all prenuptial agreements have a non-disclosure agreement in them.
Do
So
they?
it's yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. They don't want the they don't want the wife to divorce them and then go out and badmouth them.
I did not know that.
Mhm.
Huh.
Yeah. They should. If they don't, they should.
Yeah.
If they don't, they should. Okay, you were asking. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You were asking me. Look at your cute top. That's adorable.
Oh, me?
Yeah, your little
Let
heart.
me see. Let me go back. Oh, yeah. Thank you. It's actually my pajamas.
I know. It's like, why did I even get dressed? I totally could have rolled right in here.
You
I would
so
have
could
fit
have.
right in.
You would have. Welcome to, we just have easy Sunday mornings, like no muss, no fuss. Let's see. So the Isle of Isola felt like a whole character.
Mhm. Yeah, it was the crypt. That's what you had mentioned.
Yeah.
So it is. It's kind of coppery meets Comachina, which is the island in the middle of Lake Como. Capri is just this incredible space, and all the huge rocky cliffs and everything, and floating around it. You can get the boats and you can go around and go in the Blue Grotto. And the grotto, that too, when we went there, you can see the niches in the wall where they had the sculptures and stuff when they were
Oh.
worshiping all the way back in the Roman times. And it just lent itself to having a story set there and everything. So the crypt, though, that I made up, but they had to have a crypt. They've got this huge island. A lot of people die, and there were priests there for a long time, monks and kings. And, of course they would have a crypt. Again, probably watching Game of Thrones and the big crypt in Winterfell.
Yeah.
It's really funny. This book is a mishmash from a bunch of different things. They always are there. It's always something that's influenced me, that when I go back and I'm doing edits or something, or last pass pages, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I was watching X when I saw that, and that tone sometimes makes it into the books of things that I've watched or read. So I'm sure that the crypt, I'm sure I was watching Game of Thrones and saw that. I'm like, oh, a crypt would be really cool. But I love the idea of having that under the house and having that big showdown in there, because it's just so dark and creepy.
Definitely stood out for me. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, let's just let the record show. I do not want to be put in a crypt when things go down. That is not my
No.
final wishes.
No, no.
That will not work for me. I made sure that everybody knew in our book club. I'm like, just in case you're all around and I go first, like, please let the record show. No crypt. Didn't think about it, but not a fan.
Hold on 1 second. All right. I'm going to mute myself. I had to make a tea request. I saw a coffee come into the screen. I'm like, where's my tea? I thought I asked for tea.
I think my husband likes to like make sure like he's seen handing me food or like treats during book club.
He
Well-trained.
does do that. He's very
Yeah.
sweet.
Well-trained. Very nice.
Mhm.
Very nice. No, the crypt is just wonderful. And I knew I had to have that showdown down there and with the tunnels. And I knew that there was a tunnel in. I mean, I knew you have to know with a haunted house, you got to know how the person's getting in and out. And I love that the tapestry covered that hole in the wall that goes down to the grotto, and she's coming in and out through that. And, oh God, how creepy is that?
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
And everything that she's kind of gotten herself woven into, like the art deal and all of that. I'm like, she really had her hands in so many fires.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she totally did. Thank you. You are a love. Cheers. Cheers all.
That's right.
Oh my God, that's very hot. Mm.
I
Very
was gonna
hot.
say that's the worst.
Ooh, mm. Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated story. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people die. And y'all know that I did a contest, Who Wants to Die in My Novel. And we got
All that in your,
yeah, we had so many people enter that I just, the people pleaser in me didn't want to disappoint. So I picked a whole bunch of people. I'd already said, all right, there's so many, let's have 2. And then somebody wrote me a DM and said, I volunteer as tribute. I'm like, okay, you're in. Nice Hunger Games reference. And then another one wrote in and said, I'm prepared to die. I'm like, and we've got the Harry Potter reference. Well done, you. So it's like, okay, so now we have 4. And I think we had 5 in the end. There were 5 people who had, loaned their names to die in this book. And, I'm just killing people willy-nilly. And it was just, that was actually, I'm never doing that again. I might do you want to die in my book, but I'm not going to pick that many people, because
you're not going to fall for all those references anymore, right?
yeah, it's like, you totally got me. And it's, I get it. And well played, well played. I'm a pushover. Okay, fine. But yeah, I'm not doing that again. One winner, one person gets to die.
What would you say was your favorite scene to write? And then which one was the most challenging?
Well, I mean, it's terrible, but my favorite is when she kills Morgan, when she really gets agency for the first time. I feel like that's the moment where she becomes who she needs to be. The shooting in Nashville it's a fluke, right? Is it? I mean, she's really a murderess, right? How many people has she killed? By the end of this book, how many people has Claire killed? So that we've got that lovely kind of question out there, that she is possibly her own version of a serial killer. She kills people maybe by accident, but situationally. That's a lot of people that die. So I loved writing that in the crypt though. And she's head to head with Morgan, and she's taking the life that she wants. And this woman has manipulated her, and she's not going to take it anymore. That strength, I think, was very helpful, to wrapping the story and setting up where she was going to go from there. Plus, it was a fun scene to write. I hated her friend dying. That sucked. But again, I knew she was going to die because she had won the contest. She had won the contest, so she had to die. But she died, even disapproving of what was happening, even sensing that something was not right, that she
Right.
died for her friend. I mean, that's incredibly noble. And I thought she had a very noble death. Why is her name? I want to call her Piper, and that's not her name. Katie. Thank you. It's been a while since I did this book. So that was at once a hugely fun scene and a really difficult scene because I'd been putting it off. I knew Katie sacrificed herself. I just didn't know how and when that was going to happen. And I love how it happened. I felt like it was really true to their friendship and really true to the story. And, and Claire emerges from that as a completely different person, right? She goes down into the basement, into the crypt, into the grotto to fight for what she wants. And she comes out of it, this battle scarred lion who, now nothing scares her, right? I mean, what could possibly scare you after that?
She had gone through a lot.
Yeah, it makes her, in a sense, gives her agency by murdering the person who's torturing her.
Starting with that break-in and then the break-in being the ex. Was it always that way? Did you know that?
No. This book, oh my gosh, I've never written a book that was as difficult to make work. I did, I think 7 versions of it, not drafts, versions, which is, again, 2 of them because of the situation with Rebecca and then the situation with, so 5 other, the story just wasn't, I couldn't put the pieces together. I had a bunch of disparate pieces and I could not get them to go into the jigsaw puzzle. And, I could push it in, but it wasn't fitting exactly, so that was something that came at the very, very end. I knew that he was gonna die in the book, but I didn't know where. And there was also, obviously, so this is another inside baseball, that was actually a cop shooting. A cop shot him in the earlier drafts of the book. And then we had everything that happened that summer with George Floyd. And it was just not the right time to have a cop shooting, shooting somebody who was breaking into a house, even if it was guilty. It just was not the right thing to do. So I revamped that and made it her. And it makes it 1,000 times more impactful, right? It's, it's something I'm finally learning is the intimacy of these killings, the intimacy of the situations is much more effective than a stranger doing it and there's fallout from it. I think that's the difference between thriller and suspense in general, right? Is this sense of intimacy with the story. You're on the inside of the house versus being outside knocking on the door. A thriller, you're on the outside knocking on the door. A suspense novel, you're on the inside and your door is being knocked on. It's an intimacy. And I'm writing a short story right now. And I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday and I said, which do you think works better for this girl is obsessed? Would it be better if she's obsessed with a stranger or if this is someone from her past that she knew and hasn't seen in 10 years? And she was like, oh, knowing her is much, much more intimate. I was like, okay, that's what I did. So thank goodness. Thank goodness I don't have to go back and rewrite that. But it's, I learned a lot writing this book about what not to do because I did everything wrong, but it came out fine in the end. I got there eventually. Pardon me.
Brooke, did you want to talk about, so we read your arc. Brooke read your arc.
I did.
Do you want to sneak in some questions while we have her?
Give me a few minutes. Come up with other questions and I got to think of what my questions were because I wrote them down. Now I can't find my paper.
Which arc did you read?
The Master of Shadows.
Oh, okay, good. Because they're getting ready to send it to one of us. So I didn't know if they had done that yet. That's there. Well, we don't have a cover, but that's the new standalone is
excellent.
getting ready to be sent out in galleys. So
Oh,
Excellent.
okay. Do we get to be a
Right,
part of
Emer.
that?
yeah, send Emer a note. Yeah, we had talked
Okay.
about doing a
Yeah.
preview.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
going to say, do we get to do the preview?
Yes,
So when is
absolutely.
that set to be out?
It'll be out February 28th.
And then when's the art coming out?
Now. Like I approved the manuscript this week. So
Oh,
so
excellent.
it'll be happening very shortly. The description's already up on Amazon. We don't have a cover. I think
Okay.
I want a cover. I want to see the cover. They haven't shown me yet.
Can you tell us anything about it?
Yes, I can. It is about a young couple who are having troubles with infertility. They are doing all the things. She keeps miscarrying. Her name is Olivia. His name is Park. And the book opens with the police knocking on their door the morning she has a miscarriage and coming into their kitchen and telling them that Park's biological son is a suspect in a murder. And, they're all like, I don't have any children. I don't have a son. And like, well, yes, you do. And he finally admits that he donated to a sperm bank years earlier. And he's got, at count, 19 children.
Oh, wow.
So imagine, this is a talk about intimate. This is a very, very intimate book. I mean, imagine you can't bear your husband's child and you find out he's got 19 of them and one of them is a killer. Oh,
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
there's a lot of lying going on. There's a lot at stake, a lot of scary stuff. It's multiple points of view. We've got Olivia, we've got Park, we've got Park's twin brother, Perry, the cops, the killer, the mother, the sister. There's a huge slew of characters in this. It's the hands down the most ambitious book I've done yet, and I love it. I think you're going to like it. It's very, very different from anything I've done before.
Who do I need to email, JT?
Emer.
Oh, do I have Emer's email?
Do you not have Emer's?
I don't think I do. I think I reached out to you last time and you connected us.
Okay. We can do the same thing.
Awesome. Thank you, love. 'Cause
Absolutely.
we're excited.
Oh yeah.
All right.
No,
What wine would you pair with that one?
Ooh, yes.
That would need a Saint-Emilion Burgundy. Something more delicate and special. Olivia is, wow. She came to me. I mean, this is my story. A lot of this is my story. I mean, we've talked about that, I'm sure, in the past, that my husband and I went through all the infertility stuff and miscarriage and everything. So it's going to be very interesting to talk about. This is actually a really good test. I've not really talked about it before ever. So I've only talked with my friends and they give me so much compassion that it makes me cry. And I'm like, I can't do this, but maybe I can talk about this. This is awesome. I'm not like getting all, maybe COVID dampened my emotions. Who knows? Wouldn't that be great? Maybe there's an upside to COVID that we don't know about. It gives you sociopathy and you can talk about it. Anyway, so it's very much our story. But Olivia, she came to me. I saw this woman walking down the beach with her arms wrapped around herself, and she had just had a miscarriage, and she was so incredibly sad. And the line popped into my head, "There is blood again." I was like, wow, I have got to use this. And we'd been wanting to write this story somehow anyway, because there's sadness, obviously, but there are some just hysterically funny things about trying to have a kid and not being able to. I mean, there's just, some of the stuff is just funny. It's just funny in a horrible way, right? so, I have notes, I have all the stuff that I wanted to write this story for a really long time. And we had tried it as a TV show years ago, years and years and years ago, in a completely different way. And it was about him. It wasn't about her. It was about him and the kids coming to find him. And it just, which is great. It's a fun story, but it's been done before, right? This is different. This is everything from her perspective and the mother's perspective and the travails that they go through. And it's a lot deeper and it's a lot darker, and it, got a lot of philosophical questions. You'll read my author's note. I never really feel like I can do what some authors do, like Leon Moriarty, the way she writes about the school line, the pickup line in schools, and how the kids, I don't have that. I don't have that in my repertoire. I don't have kids. I've got close friends who have kids, but I'm not doing the school pickup line, so I don't have that vocabulary, but I do know how to write about losing children. I know how to write about that very well. And that was what I decided to do with this. And in trying to figure out, how am I going to talk about this without turning into a puddle of goo every time? And I realized, oh my gosh, what I need to be talking about, because I'm trying to normalize this discussion. Every woman of childbearing age who is trying to have a child has had a miscarriage. I mean, whether they know it or not, it's so common. And there is life when you're trying to do IVF and you're trying to have children and you're not able to do it. There's life on the other side of it. There's a good life on the other side of it. If you choose not to go forward, if you choose to remain childless, if you choose to just be you and your partner against the world, there's a pretty good life out there for that. I was like, okay, that I can talk about. That will work. So it's a big, crazy book, and I like it a lot. I switched agents. And so this is the first book that my agent and I worked on. And it's different having a woman. It's different having a woman's perspective. So that really helped this get deep. And,
I was going to say, for this one, it feels like you needed a woman.
Right.
Absolutely. It would have never worked with my male agent, who was phenomenal, and I loved, and I still love, and we are friends and we still talk. That it was a very amicable divorce. It's really what it is. But it was an amicable divorce, and having Laura, she's just different. She just sees the world from a different perspective. And when she read the first, the opening and read the initial pages, she just went wild. And she calls me every week. She calls me every week to check on me, to see how I'm doing, to see what I'm working on, to see where we are with things, no pressure, just this nurturing that I think women give to one another that I didn't realize I was missing when I didn't have a woman as my, primary leader. It's been very, very eye-opening, and it's changed the work. It's absolutely changed.
I was going to ask if you feel that it's changed the work and it's shifting the things that you were writing and the way that you were writing and all of that.
It is. She's given me also a level of confidence that I was lacking. She really, she just believes in me. And it wasn't that my other agent didn't and my other teams didn't, they did. But she's just, a general marshaling my resources and like, okay, she just gets it. She gets it. She gets it. She gets me. She gets the work. She understands what I'm trying to do and how I'm trying to do it, and just wants to help me get there. And it's pretty cool. I gotta say, it is pretty cool.
It sounds like you needed that. And especially to tell this story that's so intimate to you and your life experiences.
Yeah. There's no way I could have done this without her. She truly made it happen.
Well, now I'm super excited to read it. We're going to have to figure out when we get to have you back so that we can discuss it.
Yeah. Because we want to do it before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. We want to build up that hype and excitement for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And teach me how to talk about it. That went really well. I'm actually kind of
Good.
relieved. I mean, I'm among friends, but
Yeah, absolutely. We care about you a lot.
well, ditto. I appreciate you guys so much.
You are a special one to us. Brooke, did you remember your questions?
I want to know, because I noticed this in both Master of Shadows and in the one we just read, that there's a lot of influence that seems to be with art history and sculpture and that sort of thing. Do you have an interest in that, or where's that all come from?
Oh, that's a good question. And yes, I do actually. I love art. I love sculpture. I love, and you're going to laugh because the Taylor book, I just realized I end up in the Rodin Museum in Paris
I
with
love
all the
it.
sculptures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I dig sculpture a lot, and I love art, and I took, art history classes and all of that. Yeah, that all does find its way in. And so does mythology. There's a lot of mythology in my work as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
Just because, that's what I grew up on, right? Those were the things that really turned my crank when I was a kid, love mythology. And, my teachers were very, they liked that I was interested in that, when I was little.
Mhm.
So they, I've got it right over there, actually. It's from my elementary school library. I had checked out this book. Let me grab it. Let me grab it. You'll love this. It's the all color.
Oh, I know that one.
Greek mythology.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
checked it out so many times. Yeah, see, there's the checkout
gosh.
card from the library.
Oh, I love it.
I checked it out, and I was the only one. I checked it out so many times that they gave it to me when I left.
Aww.
Yeah,
That's
March
amazing.
10th, January 29th, February 5th, February 12th, March 8th, April 1st, May 8th. I just kept coming back to it. I loved this book. And it obviously, that's 5th grade, 6th grade, probably
Right.
6th grade. But I had been checking it out my entire, the whole time I was there. I love that there are teachers in the world and librarians in the world who will recognize, hey, this kid's got a passion. We should probably reward it. We should probably do something to, keep them interested and keep them working on this, So it's
Absolutely.
not that I'm necessarily thinking, hey, I want to put this in here. Though there are times like, Leda and the Swan. There's a sculpture of Leda and the Swan and that's one of my favorite tales, poems that one I put in a couple of times. Have you read any of the Taylor books? Have you read All the Pretty Girls?
No, not yet.
Go read All the Pretty Girls, because I use all of my favorite poems. The killer leaves the poems behind at the crime scenes, and so all of my favorite poems are in there, including Leda and the Swan. It's just that I grew up on this stuff, so it's just kind of part of me. I need to. I always want to go back and reread it, especially now that they're having so many retellings. I always wanted to do an Antigone book. And I sort of have in many ways, but I love, like Circe and stuff. I love these retellings of these mythological stories that, we think we know, and we get to see a different perspective. It's super cool. So Master of Shadows is definitely, that's definitely going to happen. So Rachel, my co-writer, RL Perez, she actually went to Paris and got to see a bunch of the stuff that's in the book, which was wonderful. It really lent, I've been there now and she's been there, so it really lent a lot of verisimilitude to it. The next book's in Patagonia. I don't know how we're going to pull that off. Except for my brother-in-law's been there. So I'm going to send him a note and say, will you please send me all of your pictures?
Yes.
So we've got at least, something to hang our hats on, because neither one of us are going to be able to get down there.
Right.
Not before that book's done.
No,
It's really kind of fun. Pick an international series and then don't go to the international spots where it is. I highly recommend that.
I just love the book so far. I absolutely love the first one because I'm a huge I love all the fantasies and I love all the fandoms and all just those little quirks you put in there with the different quotes and just I love it. I absolutely love it. And with the librarian's name being Katie Bell, I giggled so hard.
Right. We totally had to do that. I mean,
Yes, I loved it. I've recommended these books to all my friends, especially I work at an elementary school, so the librarian at our school. I'm like, all right, we have the same taste in books. You have to read these. You will.
oh, thank
So
you.
she's reading them over the summer.
Thank
But
you.
I cannot
Let
wait
me
for
ask
both.
you, did the book feel different from the first book to the second book?
No, it really felt like it was a continuation of one big story.
That's phenomenal because switching co-writers was a huge.
No, it just felt like the continuation of the story. Like the first one ended, I'm like, wait, now I have to wait. I don't want to wait. So when Brittany emailed me, she's like, hey, I have the arc of the second one. I'm like, gimme. It's like, I need to read this now, please.
Good deal.
yeah,
So
it
sign
just-
up, send me a note and we'll put you on the ARC team. So you
Absolutely.
you get those early.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm so happy to hear that because,
Yeah.
you know, this book, we worked really hard to match tonally and, you know, different people have different personalities and have different things that they find funny. And,
Sure.
you know, RL is almost 15 years younger than Alicia. So a completely different, and her kids are little, whereas Alicia's kids are older. So it's a
Sure.
different pop culture references and everything. So it's like, ooh, are we going to keep it the same?
It
but
totally
it-
works.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely
really,
works.
I was real happy with how this turned out. And
Yeah.
it's so much shorter. Yay.
I
First
was
one
like,
was
I
really
was ready for
long.
the ending. I'm like, I know it's gonna happen. I know this is gonna end, and I was wrong. And I love that I was wrong. So I was like, yes, it's not what I thought. I like this better, and now I'm even more excited for the third one.
Oh, that's
So-
awesome. Yeah, we've plotted out. We know what that one's going to be. We know what's going
Good.
on. We've got 8 short stories,
Okay.
6 books and 8 short stories in this series.
Excellent.
And then
that's awesome.
we have a spinoff for it. So there's
Perfect.
a
Oh, I can't
lot
wait.
of Jane Thorne CI librarian world things to come.
Excellent.
It's
Very,
really
very
weird
excited.
to be doing that and doing these big, you know, issues driven standalones. And I'm 80,000 words into this Taylor book. I'm almost
Ooh.
there. So I got to get that done. And I'm trying to write this short story. So there's a lot going on.
You are busy.
But in COVID, I went on vacation, had a lovely 10 days away. I worked a little bit of the last bit of it, but you know, the first half of it just did no work, read, it was lovely. Then came back and 2 days later am down with COVID. So I've lost 5 weeks. I've lost 5 weeks
man.
at a time when I should have finished a book and finished a short story and be into the next standalone, which is called #legacy. They'll change that title. They won't stay with that title because the hashtag would be hellacious in metadata. But they've already approved that proposal. So
Nice.
as soon as I can get the other 2, I got to start that like here in the next. I can't put it off more than another week or so. I've got to get that going. So exciting times.
I'm excited for everything you've got coming out.
Me
You know,
too.
you always have our support.
Mhm.
You guys are the best. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can't wait to dive into this arc. I'm like, you've got me so excited now.
I love this book. It's higher concept. It's a bigger upmarket title. It's perfect for book clubs. I mean, it just has this intimacy that I was talking about, but it also, you know, what would you do if you were in this situation? It's very relatable, I think, in ways that Her Dark Lies is not. You know, Her Dark Lies is almost a fantasy, really, if you
Yeah.
think about it. I mean, you know, it's the Cinderella story and
Mhm.
you know, the knight in shining armor. It's got all of those mythological themes to it versus this is real life. This is very real and very, you know, how would you deal with this situation? What would you do if you couldn't have a baby and your husband, surprise, has a whole huge slew of them, you
Right.
know?
And one
It's
of them's not such a good person, it sounds like.
right. And where does that darkness come from?
And aren't you glad maybe you didn't have a baby with him? Like, what if the
Right.
others are as dark as this one and just haven't gotten caught?
Right. And I mean, where does that, is darkness genetic? Is it, it goes into all of that.
Mhm.
Where does all of that come from?
Oh, I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's fine. I mean, it's finally here. I turned that in last July.
I remember that we were talking. I'm like, I think we've kept in touch since we met last year. And
Yeah, because you were like, I want to do a preview. And I'm like, as soon as they do it, and then it's going to be a big hardcover release, which is great. But and honestly, oh my gosh, I don't know the way the market seems to be going right now with all the problems and books getting canceled, and maybe 2023 is going to be a little smoother. So I'm not as upset as I was. I hate having a huge gap. It's almost a 2-year gap between books.
yeah,
And I don't like having that huge gap, but it is what it is,
it's been a rough world. I was going to say, I think that we've all been kind of living through. So
Oh, it
Yeah,
has
for
been
sure.
just incredibly difficult, incredibly hard. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that I've had 3 shots and now I've had it. So maybe I've got immunity for a little while. I can get back out in the world. I've got friends that still haven't seen family in over 2 years.
Oof.
Yeah. It's, they can't risk it. They can't risk getting out and they've got
I,
comorbidities and stuff. It's just,
yeah, I haven't been out for those same reasons. I'm like, so we were just talking about it, like, I don't think I've sat in a restaurant in almost 3 years now. Like, I can't remember the last time I've done some things. So
oh man, bless you. That's hard. But you go out in the world like I did and you get it. So
well, that's my
got
fear.
on
I'm
the
like
plane.
with, yeah,
100%. I got it on the plane because I was with my parents and my brother, and none of them tested positive. My brother drove me to the airport. So I got it in the airport or on the plane. I think I got it on the plane. I think my seatmate, it was his first time flying and he was terrified. So I
Oh.
talked to him, which I
Oh.
normally don't do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to him because he was so scared and I felt so bad. He was just so nervous. He was making me nervous.
oh no.
I'm a good
Oh.
flyer. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, dude, you're freaking me out. He's like, what do we do if it goes down? What do we do? And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, please stop. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
We're
Just hang
okay.
tight. Every month, it's like, ah. I just decided to talk about aerodynamics and runway lengths. And I used to work for the FAA. So I went for the technical side of things, and it calmed him down. By the end of the flight, he was like looking over my shoulder out the window. So
You did a good job, it sounds like,
yeah.
at
Lord.
your own expense, unfortunately.
Yeah. But it's what happens when you're nice to somebody. Yeah, good job.
Yeah, they say no good deed goes unpunished. That might have been one of
That's
those
exactly
prime
what they say.
examples.
It's exactly what they say. It's so true.
Felt like you lived that, unfortunately.
Yep. So whatever. I'll just go back to being a jerk. Never talk.
A very healthy jerk, hopefully.
Yep. I'll be a healthy jerk. I won't have to deal with all of this.
Yeah, I've got like friends like Brittany. If I was in Georgia, I wouldn't come see you in person because my exposure rate is so high. I'm always afraid that I'm going to pass it on to someone and not know it, that I'm going to have it and not know that I have it and be one of those asymptomatic people because I haven't had it yet. I've been tested 5 billion times for
You
work.
might have natural immunity. There are a lot of people who do.
Yeah, I mean, because the clients that I work with people who are homeless. I work with people who have been incarcerated and that are stuck in. And so my exposure rate's very, very high. And I've been working all throughout COVID. And so I'm kind of like, I'm so afraid that I'm going to like pass it. So there's people that I've not seen in person in 2.5 years.
Have you
Because
gotten an
of that.
antibody test?
I haven't. I have been tested. My appendix burst at the very beginning of COVID. And so they had to do like 5 tests in the beginning because they were convinced that was what caused my appendix to burst. It didn't. And then after that, just for work, we had to, for a while there, I was getting tested every week. And now I get tested maybe twice a month for it. And I've been vaccinated and boosted and all of those things. And haven't had it yet.
Wow.
like, yeah, like obviously I'm sick right now. And so I was like, all right, finally, I got it. It's finally happened. And nope. I've had 5 tests since I got sick and nope. So I don't know, maybe, but I don't want to get it and then not, and like spread it to somebody and not
Do
know. So
you,
they're friends
this
that I
is
just haven't seen.
just a ridiculous question, but if
Yeah.
there are people who have it that test negative. It's
Yeah, and
they're
I get worried
negative
about that.
testers.
And that's
I
why,
thought
like,
my husband was going to be one, and it took almost a week for him to test positive, and he was
Yeah.
symptomatic the whole time.
yeah, like with this cold, I've just been testing and testing and testing, and I went, like, we've done the rapid tests and we've gone to the doctor. I kind of like treated it this time of like, well, maybe I do have it. Yeah, so there's certain people that I'm just like, I'm just staying the hell away from,
Yeah, no, it's
just in case.
my
And it sucks.
parents are in their 80s, their high 80s, and they've been like, oh hell no, come and see me if I die. I'm in my high 80s. What do you want me to
Yeah.
do? No, I'm not gonna not let you come visit me. So we've we made that decision as a family. We're like, all right, well, we know that there could be a downside risk, but they would rather see us now than not.
Yeah.
So
I'm normally home being Atlanta, where everybody else is. Well, not everybody, but most everybody else is. Becky's not. Much more, but I've been home like 3 times in the past 2.5 years, which is unusual for me. I hate it. I hate it so
Yeah.
much. But
got Sweetie eating in the background.
oh, that's Arya. Yeah,
Is it Aria?
yeah.
You know what
That's Arya.
so
My husband named her from the Game of Thrones character, because he was like, she's got big eyes. That character has big eyes. They're fierce little warriors. So
I love it.
mhm.
I told my dad, I totally manifested the stupid COVID. I told my dad, he goes, we're huge Game of Thrones fans. And he was
Mhm.
like, are you going to watch the Hungarian one? I'm like, oh yeah. I said, I want to rewatch the original series. I said, but somebody told me that COVID takes the exact amount of time as it is to rewatch the series.
Uh-huh.
So I've been waiting, if I got sick or anything to do it. And of course, the next week I get it. And guess what? 6.5 seasons.
Mhm.
I got through 6.5 seasons.
Wow.
So it was about right. I got up.
Good to know.
So I'm
That's
at 8.
hilarious.
I'm at episode 1 of season 8. So I made it through 7 whole seasons while I was down. So
I saw you post that on social and I was like, oh no. Oh no.
it
Oh
works.
no.
I mean, it totally distracted me. That 2 weeks, I don't even barely
Yeah.
remember the past 2 weeks. I mean, I think there's a genuine brain fog that's
Oh,
going
sure.
on.
They say there is.
Absolutely.
I'm messing stuff up. I'm forgetting things. I'll be going to the room and I'm like, wait, what did I come in here for? Can't really focus, can't really read. I've written 6,000 words on this short story, but I don't know if they're any good. It's just kind of like, it's weird. It's really weird. 0 stars. Do not recommend.
Oh, gonna take your word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
Glad to see you're on the mend though.
I'm alive. I'm here. I'm moving. I'm doing my thing. So I'm very grateful to have gotten through it, because I know a lot of people don't. And that's scary. That's the scary part about it. It's like, okay, I've got it. Now what? Now what's going to happen?
Well, and you don't know.
Yeah.
That's the frightening part, is you just don't know.
You don't know. You don't know how your body's going to respond. I mean, I had so many shots. I was pretty sure I was going to be fine, but paid pretty close attention there for a couple of days. Like, wow,
Mhm.
I feel like crap.
Yeah.
Well, this was awesome. We love having you.
Absolutely.
I love being with y'all. Start my day
So-
with you guys, end our day with fireworks. They're doing our Memorial Day fireworks in the neighborhood today.
Oh,
So
fun.
Nice.
Randy's still testing positive, so we're just going to take the car and sit in the car and watch them. Can't interact with people yet. Ugh.
The worst.
Yeah. Well, I'll make sure, send me a note and I'll forward it to Emer and remind him that we had agreed that we were going to do an early release book club. So you guys can all read it and we can talk about
Excellent.
it and everything.
Can't wait.
Awesome. I will send you a note with the screenshot when we finish.
Awesome. And I
from
will,
today.
I will look a little closer at the time. I had a Zoom yesterday and the girl didn't show up. And we're like, okay, well, what's going on? This is very unlike her. And so we talked for like an hour and she still didn't show up. So we sent her a note. We're like, so sorry we missed you. And at 5 o'clock, she wrote and she was like, I'm here. I'm like, where? What are you talking about? It was 2 hours ago. She was like, oh my God, I calculated it wrong. So it's endemic. Everybody's just
I was
off.
gonna say it's time zones.
It's
Yeah.
time zones.
Becky was lecturing us on time zones earlier. What did you say, Becky? What was the? I think you're on mute, but what did you say?
Difference between the daylight and the standard. The
Eastern
Yeah,
Standard Time
that's
is daylight time.
daylight savings time and standard time.
Mhm.
So, you know, the city, the like Arizona that doesn't do
Right.
it. And I do a ton with Poison Pen. And so half the year we're all just like, you know, what
Wait.
time is it in
Mhm.
Arizona? You know, it comes back and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's a mess.
Yeah, that's a
Why do they
tough
make
one.
it so hard? Why do they make it so hard?
No, just one more
But we
thing
need
to
to quit
think through.
changing the time. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
I am too. It just makes me very sleepy for a while. It throws me off.
Yeah. I
Same.
don't like it. I wish that we would just stick with one and pick one and stick with it, you
Mhm.
know?
Just call it.
Yeah, let's just call
Agree.
it. Everybody would be much happier because it messes with your biorhythms. It really, I don't do well.
I hate it for my animals. The cats and the dogs are just like, when are you feeding us? What's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. For a while, Annabelle just looks at me like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, You're an hour early.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
sorry, you're
depending
gonna
on
be
what it is, it's either like
starving
dinner's
later.
late or
It's hard with the 6 and the 7-year-olds coming into school in the morning an hour
Yeah.
early, and the
Yeah.
teachers
everybody's
don't like it either.
teary-eyed and yeah. It's either dinner was late or you fed me at 5, but it's 6 and we're supposed to get fed now too.
Double
Yeah,
dinner.
that is really interesting. I mean, their biorhythms are very, very locked
Mhm.
in. They know.
Yeah,
fascinating.
They're
Animals
like,
are
it doesn't matter that you fed me an hour ago. It's dinner time now. I'm like, no,
You don't get second dinner. You
Time
can't.
change.
Yeah.
I'm
Second
sorry.
breakfast?
But give half dinner and half dinner. That's
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do to get them through it too.
yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. You guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you for being patient with
Absolutely.
my snafu and
All good.
for
Oh, no big deal.
putting off from like 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
three.
3?
Jeez.
Is it
Three.
3?
Yeah. We were refreshing
Over.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Because it had been 3 weeks. So we were all reminding each other, like, okay, so what happens? Because we've
Yep.
read one additional book since then.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
we were chatting about it and catching up and reminding ourselves of the storyline.
well, thank you for the wine pairing idea because that's
Yeah,
Love it. I can't
I'm
wait.
totally
thrilled.
yeah.
Thrilled that that's a new idea. I
Yeah,
was sure
that's-
because I was looking that up and I was like, I bet this is already a thing because why not? Why would you not pair that? So I'm thrilled.
Yeah, no, that's super,
fun.
super fun.
Please use that and do that. That'd be
I'm
great.
going to. I'm totally going to. That's yep. Gonna be making those videos this week. I made a bunch of reels. I'm finally doing reels. So I made a bunch of reels this week. So I'm gonna go add that in. I'll find a good place to do it. And
Mhm.
great idea.
I love it.
Thank you.
Happy we could inspire you. Good job, Jesse.
Be sure you go and tag yourself on the post so I can, I don't know what your social is. So
Yeah.
Brittany's got all that. She'll
Yeah. I'll give you, when I send you the email to send to Emer, I'll give you Jesse's info so you can tag her.
so I can tag you. Great.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have a fabulous Sunday.
You too. Enjoy the
too.
fireworks.
Yeah. I'm gonna go have some breakfast and maybe read a little bit. What are you reading?
We're getting ready to start a new one. What's next, Brooke? You just reminded
I
me.
did, and
Easy.
then I put it down.
I know. I'm like,
Um,
what's next? I just finished The Choice by Jodi Picoult, her short book that she just released. It's about all the abortion situation going
Oh.
on.
Yeah.
It's only 30 minutes and it's only on Audible. It was
Is it good?
different for her.
Yeah.
It was, I
Real
like,
easy.
real easy is what we're doing next.
Real easy. I just started, I've been having a heck of a time reading just the whole year. Just everything's been off. Normally by now I've read 50 books. I've maybe read 20. But I started Book Lovers by Emily Henry.
I read that. I was actually just gonna say I just read that.
Ugh,
Cozy
love her.
rom-coms are my jam. My work is so like heavy. I work in like trauma work. I work with survivors of sex trafficking. And so like when I come home, I just want to be like warm and fuzzy sometimes.
Yeah.
And so cozy rom-coms are my jam for those tough days. And so I just got into Emily Henry. But I really enjoyed Book Lovers.
Oh my gosh, I love her. Julia Whalen, my Oxford year, which is a little bit sad, but it's wonderful. But her new one, Thank You for Listening, that's coming out is, it is When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail classic.
Okay, wait, what is that? Because You've Got Mail is my favorite movie in the entire world.
Oh my
So
God.
like you had me at You've Got, so what was that, JT?
Julia Whalen,
Okay.
Thank You for Listening. I scored a galley and it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. It's going to be my favorite book of the year. Nothing will. I told her, I said, you're going to pull me out of my reading slump and you're going to put me right back in it. And that's exactly what happened. It's so good.
When's it due out?
I think, is it August? Let me check. Oh, look, that's right there. Thank you for listening. It's just August 2nd.
August 2nd. Okay.
Yep. And my Oxford year is really good. It's on sale for $1.99 right now.
Nice.
Like that.
That's always nice.
There's a cozy rom-com for you, hopefully.
Oh, I'm telling you,
I
it's
love my cozy
just,
rom-com.
it is funny. It is sassy. It's sexy in a couple of places, but appropriate to, it's not like in your face. It's just brilliant. I loved it. It is just classic, an instant classic.
Well, and You've Got Mail is my favorite movie in the whole entire world. So when you said that, I was like, I'm listening.
Yep. I love that movie too. My gosh, the world is so crazy. Why don't we just enjoy some happy stuff?
Yeah.
We all need some happy.
Yeah. We need some happy.
We deserve it.
It helps certainly, to come home and be like, all right, I'm going to be in my cloud and read some happy.
Read some happy. Gosh, that's another great social media tag. Read some happy. Huh. You're just giving me all kinds of ideas today.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. Me too. Okay. All right, friends. Good to see you. Thank you
Good
for
to
being
see you.
patient with me.
Have a great
Always.
one.
Good having you.
Oh, it's always fun. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do it sooner.
Yep, I love it.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to email you. You tell me when we can get it and when you want to meet, and we'll rearrange some things to make it happen, obviously.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Yeah, because it comes out in February. So whenever is good between now and then for you guys, just let me know.
When do you want to come back? You tell me what works for you.
Do you want to do it what gives you guys the lead time? Do you want to do it in the fall or do you want to do it in January?
We could do it in the fall. I can move some things around if you'd like.
It's totally up to you. I'm all yours.
I love
Whenever
you.
you want.
Let me look at the schedule. I'll see what I can move around because in the fall we have a lot of authors. We've got like Stacey Willingham
Then
coming.
why don't we
We've
go
got,
with January?
you want to do January?
Yeah, I don't want to
Okay.
push you. I don't want to push your schedule out of whack.
Okay, we'll do January.
Yeah.
I'll find maybe one of the second weekend in January, possibly.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, I love it. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. I like this book. I like this book a lot. I hope people like it. It's wild. It's very different for me. It's a departure.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I like a departure though. Sometimes that's good.
well, I'll trust you guys to tell me whether it's going to work or not, so I can manage my expectations.
I love it. All right. So when I email you, I'll pick out the weekend that we're going to do it. That way we're good to go. We'll set it
Awesome.
up.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Perfect. Thanks, Shati.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great one. Love
You
you.
too.
Happy Memorial Day. Love you
Happy
guys.
Memorial
Memorial
Day.
Day.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
One second. Let me stop the recording.